Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for you today. In this one, I want you to pay attention to the cooldown on suppressor turret in this footage. This is my old single target precision rotation from my updated guide. So pay attention to suppressor turret and that pause that's on the cooldown each time. So when you jump cancel suppressor turret, the cooldown pauses for about 3 seconds and then the cooldown starts to finish. So pay attention to that pause because this is what has changed in the Valentine's game update. So whether or not it's intended or not, I'm not sure. We can kind of discuss that here, but I want to show you what actually it looks like now. So just pay attention to what that looked like before, that pause, and let's hop into what the game actually looks like now. So you saw previously what I was talking about in terms of suppressor turret having that slight pause to it before the actual cooldown started. Now there's no such pause. So as of the Valentine's event coming on live server, there's no such pause on suppressor turret. Now the cooldown starts immediately. The only thing I can think of is that they were changing Ice's Frost Blast so that it wouldn't lock the cooldown anymore. Frost Blast, if you haven't seen my Ice Guide in the past, it's always had a persistent bug where if you used a power like Ice Boulder Strike or any power after Frost Blast, even though the damage hit on the target, it would lock the cooldown, and then the entire cooldown duration would pause for like 3 or 4 seconds before it started to cool down and mess up your entire rotation. That was a bug on the forums that was reported. They were looking into fixing that. They did. I believe so. They said they're going to, but it may have inadvertently affected Gadget Suppressor Turret because that same thing that had a pause in the cooldown. So what that does now is that now that we don't have that pause, powers like Tornado Pull and Cyclone Push, which was like 1.75, 2.5 seconds, you don't necessarily have to use that now because of the quicker cooldown Suppressor Turret. Any 0.5 second power, Gauss Grenade, Taser Pull, Cryofoam, Napalm Grenade, all those can be canceled immediately each single time because of the cooldown suppressor turret. You don't necessarily need the back mod for suppressor. It still work either way. If you have any kind of slight delay or lag, it's still going to help. But the thing is, even at suppressor turret's actual cooldown, being 1.5 seconds, 10% of 1.5 seconds, it's just a couple milliseconds. You're not going to necessarily see that time. But it'll help if you have any kind of latency issues or anything like that. So it still helps to have that back mod in case, just in case, basically. So I'm sitting buffed here just because my prec, I don't have lead affinity mods, I don't have OP items, I have volt generator mods. So this is test server stats. I'm sitting at 32 gate base prec. Live server, I know people are sitting at like 34 to 36k base. This is also not going to show what like the troll buff and raid. So the parses you'll see, it's not completely indicative of what it's capable of because obviously there's so many more buffs and content in terms of like a troll running the cog buff, troll running the troll buff itself having that extra 20%. So this is just a glimpse of what's actually possible now. But I'll show you another thing that the side effect of having this jump canceled is in a moment. So you can see the impact that this has now is that at the end of each flurry shot rotation, now I can immediately cancel taser pull with suppressor turret. So the other effect this has is that I can guarantee that every single time I do flurry shot, I'll have 5 ticks. So is it 4 ticks? Is it 3 ticks? 2 ticks? You don't have to worry about that. Every single time you'll have 5 ticks exactly, because after 5 ticks, that's when taser pull will come. Both will come off cooldown, and you can clip it each time, and just basically continue on that rotation. So the nice thing about it as well is, as you can see with the transformation card and taser pull, even with the lower might, it's still going to crit for 20k. So you have this opportunity to crit for 20k each and every single rotation added on. So yeah, you're going to have the parses where it's lower, but when you have like Sacred Claw Troll, you get the extra 7% might from that as well, plus obviously in content raid buffs. So you have that consistency there. Each and every single time you're guaranteed to get 5 ticks. So there's no more canceling early, canceling too late, because you're always canceling at the exact same time you need it to have this exact ticks. And that's just not messing around with the stealth or anything else. It's just strictly just taser pull, clip with suppressor turret, and how it exactly lines up now with the cooldowns each and every time. So the exact same scenario also exists for dual expulsor shot now, being able to, instead of substituting out taser pull and hitting Gauss Grenade. So it definitely has changed gadgets a lot for the better. In terms of being able to open up new rotations in terms of using powers, and you not necessarily locked to super speed movement anymore, but before you had to always use tornado pull. Now you've got the extra effects where, say you're running like a controller has claw in the group, now you're getting the extra butt damage from the might damage from Gauss Grenade and Taser Pull each time around. You don't necessarily it's a little bit less damage than what I found, but technically if you didn't have the Strategist at 200, you could also use the Grim. The Grim will set up the Daze PI for Taser Pull, so it'd be a little bit increased damage. It just, the crits on the Strategist card are more damage over time than the passive damage from the Grim pet, and the PI damage as well. But if you didn't have the strategy, you could also substitute the Grim, same thing. You get a little bit higher base stats in terms of precision. Then you also have the PI for Taser Pull. But it opens up a lot more possibilities for gadgets. Not like gadgets wasn't already one of the strongest powers in the entire game, especially for precision single target. So only time will tell if this is intended or not, or if this gets taken away. This is certainly a lot more potential than gadgets needs, especially. It didn't require this change whatsoever. This change kind of moves into the broken territory, because now, like I said before, in Flare Shot, you don't need to time the vortex anymore. It doesn't matter. You know exactly when to clip Flare Shot each and every time, because it's going to be exactly when Taser Pull and Suppressor Turret come off cooldown. So you're going to be able to maintain that consistency the entire duration. And not have to worry about that. So, and that's not even mixing in stealth or anything else, or supercharges or any other type of rotation. This is just basic, just Flurry Shot, clip with Taser Pull and Suppressor Turret, getting that kind of numbers. So it's certainly not what I thought was going to be happening with the Valentine's event in terms of, I don't think anyone saw this change coming with gadgets, but at the moment, it definitely moves it into the broken territory, that's for sure. But you guys can let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.